Hello, friends, and welcome again to another episode of the POTLUCK Podcast. I'm Jared Cornutt, joined with the almost bald but bearded Matt Hensley and the almost fully gray but bearded Alan Murray. I am bearded and have medium hair that is brown. Guys, how are y'all doing today?
Marvelous. Simply marvelous.
Okay. So, here in Dallas, we went 60 days without rain. And
we 60 inches.
We have received 9.19 inches in the last 24 hours of rain, which is the second wettest 24-hour span in Dallas history. And we got the equivalent of 3 months of rain in one day.
Oh.
So we've needed it. Man, is your yard dead or do you water it pretty well?
No, because I don't like to mow it, so I like for it to die. And I keep praying that it would die. But no, now it is lush and green, like almost overnight, because
it's like resurrected. Yeah,
I'm amazed by it. You know, it's like the church revitalization of Matt Hensley's yard. I don't know.
We're not here to talk about grass, but that might be a great future Southern culture topic because there's so many different types of grasses that thrive, and Bermuda, St. Augustine,
AstroTurf.
You just like it because it has Astro in it. But all different kinds of grass we can talk about. But no, we're not here to talk about those things. We're here to talk about Southern Baptist life and things that are happening in the world today. And one of those things is the Southwestern Seminary just made an announcement. Actually, Southeastern, my beloved alma mater, made an announcement a few weeks ago that they were going to give all IMB missionaries 75% off their tuition to be a student at Southeastern.
That's wonderful.
And it as almost Price is Right-esque. Southwestern comes out and says, that's great, we're going to get 100% off tuition. Matt, tell us about this new initiative that Southwestern is having for IMB missionaries.
Man, Southeastern, I think I also saw New Orleans, if I remember correctly, is somewhere in that same ballpark, 75 or so. But yes, Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary announced recently that they're offering 100% tuition scholarships to International Mission Board missionaries. And so that's beginning really right now. And so fall 2022, SWBTS is providing 100% tuition scholarships to all IMB missionaries enrolled in degree programs at the master's and doctoral level. And additionally, those who have submitted an application for IMB service but have yet to receive an appointment will provide and also receive that 100% scholarship that covers a 36-degree or 36-hour Master of Theological Studies degree, which is the level of theological education required for appointment to the IMB. So those that are going to be IMB, those that are in the process of, in the pipeline for, but needing that degree, they also will have 100% free ride to the Dome. I think this is awesome. And it's kind of fresh for me because I just had lunch with some IMB missionaries, and they had recently heard about this, and they already know some missionaries that are in that pipeline that are going to take them up on this offer, and it's just a really wonderful thing. So I think it's great.
Almost like the SBC GI Bill. Mm-hmm. If you'll volunteer and go serve overseas, well, you can go to school for free when you get back or while you're there, which I think the GI Bill is great, that we ought to do that for our military. And I think it's more than appropriate that our missionaries who are sacrificing, they could stay in the States and maybe pastor the church to make more money and be much more comfortable, or work in the secular world to make more money. But they've devoted their lives to go overseas and to study. I think that's an incredible thing. Alan, when you hear about this, what are your thoughts? Is this something that, hey, if you know somebody who is going overseas, you're like, hey, I think this school's great, but you might want to look at Southwestern because debt-free is a lot better than anything else.
Yeah, debt-free is definitely better than having debt. When I saw Southeastern doing it first, I was not surprised at all. If you know anything about Southeastern Seminary, you know that it beats, its heartbeat is mission. Dr. Hagan is all about missions. They have a tremendous missions program there. I know when I was up at Southeastern, I had a lot of folks that were in the 2+2 or 2+3 program, where they were spending a couple years on campus and then going to finish their degree overseas. And so I think, it's not free, but 75% off at Southeastern is tremendous. And also at Southwestern, both of those schools, really all of those seminaries. But when you think about missions and international missions, the two seminaries that I think historically have had the strongest draw and the strongest push towards international missions are Southwestern and Southeastern seminaries. And so I am not surprised by either of these things. I'm not a prophet or a son of a prophet, but I would probably expect to see this maybe in some of the other seminaries, maybe even see that 75% mark bump up a little bit at Southeastern, lest they be shown up by the Republic of Texas.
Well, hey, like Jared touched on, the fact that these guys, they're not signing up for the life of luxury. They're going, and some of them perhaps even giving their lives for this cause, to be able to have that theological education. It only benefits the IMB, of course, and benefits those that they are serving. And maybe even in some of these areas where with the master's degree and with maybe even a doctorate and so forth, and as well, they may be able to teach theologically over there too in different schools. So it is such a wonderful opportunity, whether 75%, 50%, 100%, any, we all know, whatever scholarship we were getting, we were grateful, whether that was $100 or whatever, for every hour we were spending. And so we're grateful for that. And so the fact that you can get 75 to 100% is a win all the way around. And I just think it's great. And like Jay Allen said, would love to see this across the board with all of our seminaries.
I fully anticipate Southeastern to come out and say, we're going to give 125%. We're going to give you money to be a student at Southeastern.
100%. 100%.
So, hey, guys, I was rummaging through our church today. In fact, we had a friend from a fellow church, Shallow Terrace here in Dallas, came out, wanted to tour the church. And I ended up in a room that I didn't know that we had, I didn't know it existed. And I found a plaque from our church, from the International Mission Board, where Plymouth Park was a top 100 giving church in the SBC to the IMB Lottie Moon Christmas offering in 2000 and 2001. I thought that was so cool. And so, hey, support our missionaries, support them financially by giving to Lottie Moon and giving to the CP. And when you give to the CP, you're not only supporting our missionaries, but our seminaries who are making tuition free for our missionaries or severely discounted. I think that is absolutely awesome. Well, some news that kind of hits close here to us in Texas, in Keller. Keller is a suburb of Dallas-Fort Worth, and in their ISD, they've had a big conundrum on books that are appropriate or inappropriate. In fact, they've had some books removed that I think as Christians we would say they're inappropriate for a child to be reading, pornographic in nature, things of that. But the Bible was recently removed from the shelves of the Keller ISD. Now, when you read the article on Baptist Press, the Bible was reviewed by their team that does that. The Bible was deemed as appropriate, but anytime a parent complains about a book, it is removed from the shelf and they have to review it. And I think this is just kind of showing us what's going to happen going forward in the world, that when parents question books that are pornographic in nature, I think the world's going to try to take shots at us and what we believe and our word. Alan, you have worked like 14 different libraries in your 95 years on this earth. What are your thoughts on Keller ISD by removing the Bible from its shelf because one parent says it's inappropriate? And I guess if you can remove one book, I guess every book is fair game, right?
Yeah, well, my immediate thoughts are it sounds like an episode of Parks and Rec. But secondly, there's clearly some boundaries of some things that are appropriate and inappropriate for children, especially when it comes to issues that are pornographic. The Bible is a banned book in a lot of places around the world still. And so for us to hear, the Bible being banned, that just sounds crazy to us. But there's a lot of places where the Bible is a banned book or where it's edited, like in communist China, where they've made some major changes to copies of the Bible that are freely available from government approval. And so I think it's a dangerous road sometimes when we get into this, especially saying, all it takes is one person to complain to ban a book, especially when it comes to the Bible. And at the same time, I get it. I believe that the Bible is the Word of God. I believe that it is the inerrant, infallible, all-sufficient Word of God. But there's some stuff in the Bible that I'm not going to read in family worship with my kids. And so, and I know I just got big eyes from Matt, but there's,
hey, Mark.
If you want to read Ezekiel 23 and you want to read Song of Solomon for your family worship time, you're going to have some interesting conversations. If I was preaching through those books, I'd get to them, and that's the kind of thing I'd give some warning to our parents ahead of time. But I think it's
just roll right through it. Just see what happens.
Well, I'll be sending you my resume, man. I might have to move to Texas. Get fired for preaching a Mark Driscoll.
Come join us.
I think you've got to have some discernment on the kind of books that you have in libraries for children, most definitely. But as far as the slippery slope, one complaint, pull it off the shelf. I think that's a dangerous road to go down. And I think the Bible should be in schools, especially when it comes to ministries like the Gideons. They're getting the Bible in schools.
Yes, and the Bible can be in schools through different ministries like the Good News Club and First Priority and things like that. Matt, Keller ISD, you're over in, I'm in the HEB ISD. And ISD, for those of you outside of Texas, is an independent school district. That's what they call them in Texas because they have to be different than everybody else in the country and how they label their school systems. I live in the HEB, Hurst, Euless, Bedford. You live in Farmersville ISD. It's just kind of surprising. You know some of the churches over there in Keller. Is this pretty, is this a good representation kind of their community out there? Or what do you think?
No. And I think we live in a day, of course, where fringe, conversations and on either side get kind of that equal play. And so, in this case, we saw how quickly this was determined to be appropriate, the Bible being appropriate and so forth. And so, in some sense, I think the policy is probably helpful because sometimes you just don't know what is on the shelves. And sometimes our girls come home with a book and I'm like, wow, that kind of deal. But it also gives us a chance, we're involved in what they're reading and learning and all of that kind of stuff. And so we're able to have those conversations and sometimes difficult conversations or things that they're reading that are necessary. Like this even touched on the Diary of Anne Frank and so forth. And so that's something that our girls read and we talked through the things that they were seeing. And so that's part of being a parent. But I think you touched on something is we're approaching that, if not already in that day, where the one view that's not really tolerated is going to be the Christian worldview. And I think we're, if not approaching that, we're in that season now. And this is an indication of that, even here in Texas, where we would probably think is kind of the belt buckle of the Bible Belt. And so I think that is a concern, but we continue to be faithful and know that even if we are reviled and hated and everything else, that the gospel still moves forth.
Yes, it does. And so I think we can expect this in the days to come. I think we can expect this in the years to come. And stand firm, believe what is true, catechize your children, teach them what God says, and let the chips fall where they may fall. And we'll see what happens. Well, guys, we are moving towards, Friday night is Christmas Eve. Really, next Friday night's Christmas Eve for me, but this Friday night is the day before week 0, which is the dumbest concept ever, but week 0 of college football. Next Saturday, I'm going to be watching Vanderbilt play Hawaii in a 9,500-seat football stadium. I can't wait to watch it. And then the next week, I'm going to watch Alabama play football, and all will be right with the world. My whole Saturday, wall-to-wall coverage, 8 a.m. till 11 p.m., college football all day for me. And then Sundays, I will fall asleep on the couch watching the NFL after church as well. I want to hear it. Who do you guys think? So when you talk about Southern culture, football is it, baby. Who's going to win the Super Bowl in the NFL? That's the NFL, Matt. Who's going to win the Super Bowl, and who's going to win the national championship in college football?
Houston Astros. And
the team that just lost 2-3 to the Braves, by the way, which means you have to buy me lunch.
Yeah, where are we going?
Texas Roadhouse.
Oh, let's go. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah. You just tell me when.
Okay. Today. So I'm going to say Alabama, did they win last year?
Alabama lost to Georgia in the national championship last year.
Georgia good this year?
They should be good. Yeah, Georgia should be good.
Okay. Give me like 4 to choose from that would all have, let's say, an equal shot.
Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, and Ohio State.
Mascots?
Ohio State's mascot is a nut. It is a Buckeye. Clemson is the Tigers. Alabama's is an elephant. And Georgia's is a bulldog.
Big fan of elephants in general. I also like dogs. I'm a big dog guy. But since they won last year, I'm saying Lightning's not going to strike.
It's hard to repeat twice.
Yeah, that's not happening. Ohio State, I'm going to just assume is overrated. And since it's going to mess with you, I'm going to say Clemson.
Wow, big pick. We'll see if their quarterback can turn around this year. And NFL, who's going to win the NFL? It's not going to be the Cowboys.
NFL will not be the Cowboys. Not going to be the Browns. I don't know what's going on there. Definitely not the Houston Texans.
Well, let's not even touch that.
Let's not touch that at all. Tom Brady, is he going to come back and is he actually going to play? But he's still got like half his team. Let's see. Who else is
playing for the Bucks?
Who's on the rise? Who's on the rise with the NFL?
I mean, the Bills are good. The Chiefs are good. The Packers are good. The Raiders are going to be good this year. Arizona should be good this year.
Packers. I'm going to say the Packers.
I'm a Packers fan, so I'll take it. Green Bay. Let's go.
Packers then. Whatever my vote was going to be was not Alabama. I knew that much. I didn't know you were a Packers guy, so I can't go with that. I'm going to say the Bills then.
Okay. Alan, who do you got? Your Florida State Seminoles are not going to win it all. I hate to break it to you.
Oh, I know they're not. They're not even the AP top 25 poll. So I don't think Georgia can do it back-to-back because they have to have like 60 years in between championships. And I'm probably wrong about this, but as a fan of the ACC, I think Clemson is going to have a good, strong year coming back. I know last year was kind of rough. They are in the top 4 AP before the season starts, which doesn't always mean a whole lot. If it's not Clemson, it's probably going to be Alabama, but my pick is going to be Clemson. And then when it comes to the NFL, I'm not going to pick I don't know that I'm going to use reasons so much as is what I would love to see happen based on the end of the postseason last year. I would love to see the Bengals win it all. And I think if they do what they did at last year, I think it might even be a possibility. My Panthers, I definitely don't see them going to the Super Bowl, but I think we're going to have a much better year this year with Mayfield than we have had the last 3 seasons.
Wow, there you go. Well, I think that I got to, Georgia won it last year. Matthew Daniel, who listens to the podcast every week.
Packers, just save your breath.
They listen every week. They celebrated Georgia's first national championship in 41 years. So good for them. I think Alabama's going to beat Ohio State for the national title. That's who I think will win. Alabama's going to be really good. Ohio State's going to be really good. I don't think Clemson's got quarterback figured out. Georgia, they lost a lot. So I'm going to say Bama beats Ohio State. I don't think the Packers are going to win the Super Bowl. I wish they would. I don't think they would. I don't even think they'll make it. They lost really great talent. I think the Bills will win the Super Bowl. I think with Josh Allen, they got a great team. Maybe they beat the Rams. Maybe they beat the Bucks. I don't know who they're going to beat in the Super Bowl.
Cowboys at all? Do you think they make it?
No, they should make the playoffs. They should win their division. Their division's terrible.
Yeah.
But Mike McCarthy's their head coach, and Jerry Jones is their owner. So I take much joy in watching them lose.
Yep.
The good news is that the Cowboys are always a national game. So they rarely ever play. I think they play like 2 12 o'clock games a year. So my congregation is never like, we got to get out of here and go watch the Cowboys, because they all love the Cowboys. But I'm going to take Bills and Bama to win it all. College football's back. NFL's back a little bit later after Labor Day for that. Can't wait for that. Well, guys, anything else before we end this thing and figure out when Matt's going to take me and Tyler to Texas Roadhouse? Fort Worth ribeye, here I come. Thanks for joining us here on the Potluck. We hope you had your fill and your full. Support the IMB, read your Bibles, and enjoy football this season. Join us next time, same Baptist time, same Baptist hour. Stay Baptist, my friends.